Welcome to the video for lesson 26. On 25, we introduced the idea of division with fractions and what's happening with that. This one we're continuing on with it. There will be quite a few lessons on this subject. In this case, here's something that's pretty important, is the idea that it's asking us to solve and support our answer with a model or a tape diagram. The idea is so that you can actually see what's happening before you get to a place where you just rely on doing, the standard algorithm, the parent style method every time. So in these ones, here's what we're looking at, is we have a whole, and we're going to be paying most attention to half of it. So here's half of our whole right there. And what are we doing? We're dividing our pieces into 4 parts each. So I'm going to get a different color here so it's really visual. So now if we've got this and we've got different color, we're going to break each of our pieces into 4 parts each. 1, 2, 3 lines gets you 4 parts. So this is now our half. It's broken into 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces, but our whole that we started with is now 8 pieces total. And if we go to our 1/2 and we say, okay, so out of these 2 pieces, how much is one of them worth now? So here's one of all of our pieces. How much is this piece worth? We have 2 equal pieces and we want to know what one of them is worth. And now you know that if you had 2 pieces and they are 4 each, you broke these into 4 each. How many pieces are there all together now? There's 8 of them all together. So there's 8 pieces all together. And when you go to your half, here's your half, and you look at just one of them, that is 1 out of 8 pieces. And when you look at it with the method that I showed you, standard algorithm, what's going on here is we're saying divided by 4. And if you want to take a 4, turn it into a fraction, just put it over 1. But what did we just do? Well, we said, okay, we're going to take 1/2 and we're going to say we want 4 pieces each, so we're going to multiply it. We're going to say that there's fourths in every one of them. And then when you go to multiply, 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 4 is 8. And so it matches what we had up here. Let's do the next one. And we're going to do it that same style where we have a whole. Here's our whole thing. And originally we're going to say, well, we're looking at thirds. So here's the one that we're looking at. And now we're going to start breaking our thirds into sixths. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines gets you sixths. And so if we do that all of these times, we're going to have 6 pieces here, 6 pieces here, 6 pieces here. So when you take your thirds and you add them together, you're going to have 18 pieces all together. But it's telling us to take a look at just 1/3 that's been divided into 6 pieces. How much is one of those pieces worth now? Well, here's 1 piece out of 18 altogether. 1 piece out of 18 altogether. And when we do it that method with the standard algorithm, we have 1/3, and we're dividing by 6, and 6 over 1 is the same thing. And in order to do that, we're going to have to say, okay, we're taking a third, and we're saying we're multiplying it because each piece, each of those thirds is worth 6 pieces each. So you're multiplying. The number of pieces you have just increased. 1 times 1 is 1, and 3 times 6 is 18. And so that's how it comes to match what we got the other way. Let's take a look. These ones, it's asking you just to kind of go through that process. It's not giving you a place to actually work them out the long way. So let's take a look at a word problem, shall we? So 4 teams are competing in a quarter-mile race. Each runner must run the same exact distance. What is the distance that each teammate runs? So what is our unit here? If we're looking at a quarter-of-a-mile race, we have to have an answer of how much of a mile is each person running. Because if you just said, I am running 1/4 of a quarter mile, that would sound weird, wouldn't it? That would be kind of odd. So let's go ahead and start with, here's the whole mile. And we're going to break it into quarters. And we're going to kind of ignore these ones, because that's not what we're running. We are running this 1/4 of a mile. But in order to say how much each person is going to run, we have to think of it in terms of the mile as a whole. How much of the mile as a whole are they doing? So this one we've gotten broken into 4 because we've got 4 runners, right? 4 runners, and each one of them is going to do one part of this. Here's the part that we're looking at. We're looking at 1/4 of a fourth, pretty much. And so how many pieces would there be altogether? So if this is 4 of them, the rest of the mile that we're not actually messing with, each one of them is 4. And when we combine these, the mile is actually 16 pieces altogether. And each runner in this race is going to run 1 out of 16 pieces. So 1/16 of a mile. And if we were going to write it as like a math problem, it's 1/4 of, what did we break the mile into? We said dividing it by 4. And so when you go and you do it that standard algorithm style, here's what's happening. 1/4, and how many pieces did we break it into? Well, we broke each section into fourths. And so 4 times 4 is 16. 1 times 1 is 1. So if you run in a relay race, you're one of 4 people running in a quarter mile. Each one of you is going to run 1/16 of a mile. Let's take a look at today's homework. So solve, support at least one of your answers with a model or tape diagram. I'm going to ask you just to do A. Just do A. Do A. And so you're going to have to start with your whole. And then it's asking you to break it into 2 equal pieces. And then to break those into 4 pieces each. And see what you come up with. See you tomorrow.